Hey everyone, it's Jess from Meyer Hatchery. Today I want to show you some tips for dyeing eggs using items that you probably have around the house. Now, my flock does lay some pretty colored eggs, but sometimes it's fun to dye those eggs and come up with some really pretty colors. The items that I found around the house are, I've got some tea bags here, which it should give us a good brown color. I've got some blueberries here that were kind of past their prime, but I saved them for this project. I had some leaves from a red cabbage that I saved, and I broke them up and put them into my mason jar here. And lastly, we had some leftover beets from dinner last night, so I put those in this last jar over here. Now, there's many different ways to make your egg dye. You can put any of these items here into a stock pot with about a quart of water and a tablespoon of vinegar, and you can boil your mixture down for about 30 minutes. Although this method is great, it does take a lot of time, especially when you have a couple of different things here. So what I like to do is I have kind of a quick method that I use. It's going to give me more pastel colors, but I'm totally okay with that. What I'm going to do first is in each of these jars, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of vinegar. This is just going to help to intensify the color a little bit. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spatula, and anything that needs to be broken down a little bit, I'm going to do that with the spatula. So the blueberries, I'm going to give those a good smush, and maybe a little bit with my beets here. And I just do this to help my blueberries release their color a little bit better. Maybe we'll leave those beets. They look pretty broken up on their own. Now what I'm going to do is I've boiled some water in an electric kettle, and I'm going to fill each of these jars up almost to the top here. Whoa, look at these colors already. They are beautiful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to let these sit about 30 minutes. I'm going to go do my barn chores, and when I come back, we're going to strain off our liquids. All right, so now that our mixtures have been sitting here about 45 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and start straining these. I actually want the lighter color, so I'm going to go ahead and strain these now. If you would like a really deep color, you're probably gonna want them to sit a couple more hours, but it's totally up to you. So I'm going to grab my strainer and a small bowl, and I'm gonna strain each of these one at a time, very carefully. Even though they've been sitting a while, they're still slightly a little bit warm. And then we're going to have all of our egg dye ready for our eggs. All right, so our first one here is just tea bags, so I can go ahead and take those out of here and prepare them. All these extras are gonna go into my compost pile, so we're just gonna take these off here, give them a little squeeze. There. I'm just gonna set them aside. So there's our first one, our tea color here. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. Okay, so we're gonna actually set that down there so it's out of our way. I'm gonna bring my strainer over, and next we're gonna carefully strain these blueberries. Oh, we spilled a little. That's okay. All right, and there's our blueberry color there. Ooh, that's super pretty. Love it. All right, let's do our next one. Our red cabbage. Oh my goodness, look at our colors in the sunshine. I love this. This is our tea here, our blueberries, our our red cabbage and our beets. This is great. And this gave me just the right amount of food coloring that I need for the amount of eggs that I'm going to dye. I'm actually going to be using bantam eggs in my with my egg dyeing adventure here, but you can use any size egg that you have. I'm gonna put the eggs into the mixtures that we've made up here, our egg dyes, and I'm gonna let them sit for about 20 minutes. Because these are homemade egg dyes, they may take a little bit more time, but again, I'm going after those really light pastel pretty colors, so I don't mind if the colors come out a little bit lighter. If you want your colors to be darker, again, you can let your mixture sit longer, and you can let your eggs sit longer in the egg dye that you've made. I'm gonna go grab my eggs and we're gonna put them into our mason jars. All right, here we go. We've got a whole bowl here of white. There you go. So you can see I'm white and brown. And I actually have a few blue eggs in here. I want to see what happens when we put those in the egg dye as well. So I'm going to put about 2 or 3 eggs in each container. Very carefully. Put my tongs here. Put some in here. I am so excited to see how these eggs look when we're all done. All right, there we go. Our eggs are all nice and covered. I might give them a little swirl every once in a while to make sure nothing's pushing on the edges of a mason jar there. Make sure the color gets all the way around. And we're gonna let these sit for a little bit and see what they look like. And here's what my eggs look like. Now, you know how life happens? My eggs ended up sitting a little longer than I wanted, so I got some darker colors, but they look great. That kind of tan was my beets. That really dark brown was the tea. I really like that. Look at the blueberry color. That is absolutely beautiful. And our last light blue here was the red cabbage. Hopefully I've given you some inspiration to make your own egg dye. If you have any questions, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Happy spring, everybody!